Unfortunately for this speed paint, most of the time shown in it is just me gathering PNGs and trying to remove the backgrounds off of them. But I wanted to take the time to talk about my process. I don't know how well this TDS is, but I wanted to give it a try. Anyways, for this animation, I wanted to make the cardboard cutouts look a little realistic as the whole meme is centered around a puppet show. In order to do so, I wanted to get images of different cardboard textures. Most of the props made were using the basic texture. However, I wanted to add in additional ripped textures for the more sad scenes. Then the next part to think about was how to make it look realistic enough. The end result, of course, isn't super realistic, but I tweaked the transparency of the drawings and then shaved off sections of the cardboard messily around them to give off the vibe it was actually cut out. Let's be real, we all know cardboard sucks to cut, so of course it would be messy. Then I moved on to the additional textures to not only complete the look, but also emphasize certain points in the story. For all of them, I added a backing of a cardboard edge texture to make it pop off the screen, and for particular ones I used the additional damaged cardboard pieces. After all of that, I added shading. Initially, I planned to do very little of it, but I got carried away and went crazy with it because it made it look rustic to me. Last but not least, I began to work on the separate props that had to be images or rushed. I personally didn't feel like drawing out a wave, but unfortunately the PNG looked very silly, so I ended up doing it anyway and testing out that raw beef trick people talk about. Other than that, I gathered together the stage curtains, the PNG of the Zen planet from Half-Life, and began working on what I would add for the drops that occur in the song, eventually settling on Sweet Voice by itself and not held on by a stick or string. After that, I began to work on actually editing and timing all the props for the first half of the animation, which will be shown soon. This was mainly just done so I could think about how the next part would begin and not suddenly change my mind after making more props. And that leads into the end of this first half. After editing some, I went back to making more props, as you can see, and after that is when the second half of the animation is completed and then filtered for effect, which you will see now. For this section of the video, I'm not entirely sure how to explain this process as I didn't even record while working on it, only after I had actually finished it, but it's a lot of working pieces all at once that are difficult to layer. If I were to give advice to someone wanting to make this kind of animation, I would just say take advantage of the in, out, and looping animation options for stickers, as well as this particular button that creates motion points for objects. For me, I personally used the slow looping rotation option to keep the planet spinning on the bottom of the screen and just extended it out for the whole scene while the curtain was made as an overlay. As for the cardboard props, most of them used a simple slow jiggle, wobble, or wiper animation while on screen with occasional bounces in or out when changing props, but keeping them on screen. The main tool used in one of these animations, though, is the diamond tool shown before. I don't know the name for it. When placing down stickers, you can make points in their timeline that show what position they should be at what time. That is how I managed to move props in and out of scenes in a more organic way, as well as create the door shutting effect when changing scenes. After all of that, all I really had to do was make sure that the images stacked correctly, because they like to change where they are, foreground and background wise. If you select them, this was another really tricky thing as I had to go back and click through props randomly to try and get them to sit properly on top of one another. Once everything was together, it was complete. However, the images I chose to put together didn't match very well color-wise, so I went in with filters and tried different settings to add to the scene's mood. CapCut has plenty of great filters you can use for free. For me, I just exported the original animation and then went in with those filters before making further adjustments. Though as you can see, it doesn't always work out totally well as the orange used for one of the last few props refused to show up well, but in the end it worked decently. Anyhow, this is how I made an animation meme in a day. I hope you guys like this tutorial video / process of creation. Though I'd use the word tutorial lightly, as I have never made one before and barely understand CapCut myself. Anyhow, let me know if you want me to make more videos like this, and I hope you have a great day.